Human-scale teams use Tailscale to build trusted networks. Tailscale Funnel is a great way to share a local service with your team for collaboration, testing, and experimentation. Funnel securely exposes your dev environment at a stable URL, complete with auto-provisioned TLS certificates. Use it from the command line or the new VS Code extensions. In a few keystrokes, you can securely expose a local port to the internet right from the IDE. I did this in a talk I gave at Tailscale Up, their first inaugural developer conference. I used it to present my slides and only revealed that that's what I was doing at the end of it. It's awesome. It works. Check it out. Their free plan now includes 3 users and 100 devices. Try it out at snark.cloud/Tailscale podcast. Hello and welcome to Last Week in AWS. I'm Corey Quinn. Last week was Amazon's earnings call, and well, the thing that really stuck out to me was Andy Jassy on the call saying that every team at Amazon is working generative AI into what they do. That is ridiculous. It sounds ridiculous. It's either a dramatic overstatement or someone has lost the plot somewhere. But it explains why we're seeing so many ridiculous things tied to generative AI when they really shouldn't be. But let's dive into it. Amazon Route 53 adds support for 14 additional top-level domains. Your database's namespace just expanded. AWS NAT Gateway is now available in the AWS US West Phoenix local zone because screw those desert dwellers. Why should they get to be happy when the rest of us don't? Amazon EBS announces up to 128 volume attachments per EC2 instance. 2 drives are required for RAID 0, 3 drives are required for RAID 5, and 128 drives are required for RAID my house for a welfare check before I cause harm to myself or others. I don't want to know who needs this thing because the implications are terrifying. Introducing Amazon EC2 M7i Flex and M7i instances. If there's one thing customers love, it's having to do math to figure out whether these burst-like instances will work for a given workload or not. Amazon EventBridge Scheduler adds schedule deletion after completion. It's way better for your ticking time bombs to delete themselves after execution. AWS Application Composer updates, undo and redo, export canvas, and local sync mode. Oh, right. This is Stackery post their acquisition by AWS. I like it. Why don't they talk more about it? It's super handy. Now open. AWS Israel, Tel Aviv region. But how did generative AI help this come to pass? Do you see what a ridiculous question that is? Prime Day 2023, powered by AWS. All the numbers. To answer the question an awful lot of you have asked me, and the rest of you can guess, for the 48 hours in question, roughly $102 million at retail prices. My full analysis is still in editing. This episode is sponsored in part by Panoptica. Panoptica simplifies container deployment, monitoring, and security, protecting the entire application stack from build to runtime. Scalable across clusters and multi-cloud environments, Panoptica secures containers, serverless APIs, and Kubernetes with a unified view, reducing operational complexity and promoting collaboration by integrating with commonly used developer, SRE, and SecOps tools. Panoptica ensures compliance with regulatory mandates and CIS benchmarks for best practice conformity. Privacy teams can monitor API traffic and identify sensitive data while identifying open source components vulnerable to attacks that require patching. Proactively addressing security issues with Panoptica allows businesses to focus on mitigating critical risks and protecting their interests. Learn more about Panoptica today at panoptica.app. Estimate cost savings for the Amazon Aurora I/O optimized feature using Amazon CloudWatch. The fact that you have to jump through these hoops is a pretty good indication that AWS forgets that not every company has tens of thousands of developers lying around to throw at problems like this. Empowering your workforce with Amazon Workspaces, Services, and Microsoft 365. Microsoft has decided to magnanimously stop being shitheels about their Microsoft 365 license terms, which I'm sure has nothing to do with the extreme levels of regulatory scrutiny they're currently under in the EU. Exploring function for each and function find and map enhancements in AWS CloudFormation. AI/ML are just a bunch of if statements, goes the trope. Someone on the CloudFormation team got their flow control primitives mixed up and deployed for loops instead in a futile effort to evolve their own generative AI play. And finally, identify and optimize public IPv4 address usage on AWS. Nobody cared about this until suddenly it cost them money starting in February. Now being responsible network citizens is all the rage. And that's what happened last week in AWS. I'm cloud economist Corey Quinn, and generative AI had absolutely nothing to do with helping me write and produce this episode.